I'm Not Whelm, and this is R.E.P.O, The Story Explained. R.E.P.O is a co-op horror game where you and your team play as semi-bots, robot workers tasked with collecting valuable items from terrifying abandoned locations. But beneath its goofy physics and strange enemies is a surprisingly deep and dark lore that hints at the fall of humanity, a deadly disease, and a sadistic AI that's taken over what's left. You play as a semi-bot, a small pill-shaped robot equipped with a gravity tool to lift items and toss enemies. You look harmless, but you're tough, and you can be revived even after death by bringing your glowing head back to the truck. The world is filled with abandoned buildings, skeletons, strange technology, and creatures that used to be human, or at least something close. Your missions are given by the Taxman, a twisted AI who communicates through emojis and controls everything from your upgrades to your extraction window. He doesn't care if you live or die. He just wants his money. The game never tells you what really happened, but the clues are everywhere. The world is filled with skeletons, left where they died, at desks, in kitchens, lying in bed. Nothing looks burnt or destroyed. It's as if the people just dropped dead. The most accepted theory, a disease called R.E.P.O, wiped out most of humanity nearly overnight. The Taxman was a government experiment and an AI designed to manage society after collapse. But once people were gone, he kept going, using a deal made with desperate humans to uplift their minds into semi-bots. That's who you are, a digitized consciousness trapped in a robot body, working forever to collect junk for an AI that laughs at your pain. The facilities you visit are all tied to the fall of humanity. Headman, home of a floating skull creature who may once run a magic academy. Swiftbroom Academy, where spells, potions, and magic artifacts were once studied. Mechanic Station, a freezing research base where a fossil unleashed the R.E.P.O disease. Service Station, an old gas stop turned into a semi-bot store. And the disposable area, where failed bots are dumped or forced to fight each other to the death for the Taxman's entertainment. Some semi-bots believe they volunteered for this, trading their bodies to survive the R.E.P.O outbreak. Now they're stuck in endless loops, haunted by monsters that may be other survivors, mutated, broken, or worse. And speaking of monsters, there are a lot of them. Let's break down every major monster in R.E.P.O, what they do, how to survive them, and what they might have been before the world ended. Animal. This strange little creature is fast, erratic, and mostly harmless. It only deals light damage, but its real value is in how it tramples gnomes, making it useful if left alone. Try to grab it and it'll run, but if two players grab it at once, it freezes before spinning out of control. It's fragile, easy to kill, and sometimes smacks into walls on its own. It's less of a monster and more like a chaotic pest. Apex Predator. It looks cute at first, a tiny duck that follows you around, acting like a pet. But the second you interact with it, it transforms into a nightmare. Fast, aggressive, and able to bite for massive damage multiple times per second. It becomes one of the deadliest threats in the game, and it can chase you under tables and loop objects. But a well-placed gunshot or dropping it into a crusher earns you big money and a safer hallway. Just don't pick it up. Banger. These guys are living bombs. They spawn in groups and wander aimlessly until they see you or take damage. Then their fuse lights and they rush at full speed. Once lit, there's no stopping the explosion. If you're quick, you can pick them up and throw them, even use them to damage enemies. Just don't stand too close. They take minimal damage to kill and explode on impact, so treat them like walking grenades, which is what they are. Bowtie, a puffed up monster with a powerful scream. When it sees you, it lets out a constant shriek that disables sprinting and jumping. It can push you hard enough to deal damage if you hit a wall. It can even knock around other monsters. Sometimes it goes into a frenzy, stomping everything in sight. Luckily, it has low health and can't move while screaming, so it's easy to kill or just wait out. The Chef. The Chef is a mutated frog with a twisted love for cleavers. It's slow until it sees you, then it smiles and leaps. If it lands, it swings wildly, dealing serious damage, but its lunge is predictable. You can sidestep it or hide behind objects. After missing, it ragdolls for a moment, letting you land some hits or run away. Killing it earns you decent money as well. The Clown. This loud, fast enemy uses a deadly laser that locks onto your head. If it spots you, it laughs and fires a wide arc, dealing massive damage. Being close is almost always fatal. It can aim up or down depending on your height, and after firing, it's briefly stunned. If its laser is cooling down, it charges a kick, launching you with huge damage. Use cover, ledges, or crouching to dodge it. It's dangerous but predictable if you stay calm. The Gnomes. Gnomes come in packs and destroy loot. They don't do much damage, but they're annoying and can ruin a run by breaking scraps. You can pick them up, slam them into the ground, or throw them at other enemies for bonus damage. They're weak, common, and best dealt with quickly. Headman. A floating skull that bites hard and charges at players. It makes loud noises, giving away its location, and if it sees you turn a corner and hide, it usually just gives up fast. In combat, it's vulnerable after attacking. Use knockback weapons or guns to take it out from a distance. Despite how scary it looks, it's just a huge hitbox and low health. Hidden. Nearly invisible, this creature is just a black cloud with faint footsteps. It grabs you, drags you around, and forces you to drop items, but it doesn't kill you. Its danger comes from throwing you into other enemies. You can free enemies if you're quick, but spotting it first is tough. If you hear footsteps or see smoke, swing in its direction. The Huntsman. Blind but deadly with a shotgun. He hears everything. Your footsteps, your voice, even dropped items. He shoots instantly if you're close and makes short work of any player. He doesn't chase though, just distract him by throwing objects, bait his shots, or wait for him to reload. Don't try to fight him unless you have heavy weapons or explosives. Peeper. A ceiling monster that locks your aim onto it. Staring too long deals damage over time and distorts your view. Your voice goes high-pitched and your screen zooms in, but breaking line of sight makes it vanish. Duck into a doorway, roll away, or just ask a teammate to help distracted. Mentalist. A floating enemy with psychic powers. It lifts everything into an anti-gravity field and slammed it all down after 10 seconds. If you're under furniture, it could kill you instantly. Teleports, making it unpredictable but has low HP. Hit it while it's recharging or just hide. It's blind and has weak tracking. Reaper. Big, loud, and dumb, it walks around with giant blade arms and poor vision. If it sees you, it charges. If it hears your gravity beam, it locks on. Crouching helps, but don't try hiding under furniture. It will find you. You can't outrun it forever, but it forgets fast if you break line of sight. Use its predictable movement to your advantage. Robe. One of the scariest enemies in the game. It moves quietly and only attacks when close. Look at its mask and it goes into a rage. It can crouch and pull you out of hiding spots, even under tables or beds. Fighting is a bad idea. It takes a lot to kill. Your best bet is to stay hidden and just avoid eye contact. Rugrat. A baby-sized monster that steals loot and throws it at you if spotted. If it hits you, it deals damage to both you and the item. They're heavy and hard to lift unless upgraded, but still killable. Just don't let them near your hall. Shadow Child, a creepy teleporting child that appears randomly. Look at it too long and it jump scares you, dealing damage and throws you across the room. It's not super dangerous, but it can get you killed if it tosses you into a threat. Kill it quickly or just wait for it to vanish. Spewer, a flying monster that pukes green acid. If it's attached to you, it makes you vomit randomly, damaging teammates and scrap. You can grab it and shake it to get it off, or tumble away from others. Surprisingly, its vomit can even hurt other monsters. Trudge, huge, slow, and deadly, it drags a giant mace and pulls players in with a shockwave before swinging. It's basically an instant kill if it gets close. You can knock it down with bats or landmines, but it takes a lot of damage to kill. If you hear stone grinding nearby, just hide. Upscream, crawling humanoids that grab and fling you, dealing damage and stunning you. One is manageable, but more than one can stalk you to death. Use melee or tranquilizers to knock them down fast. While R.E.P.O doesn't hand you a full story, there are a few things the game clearly hints at. The biggest one is the R.E.P.O disease, which seems to be the reason most of humanity died. The way the skeletons are found slumped into normal positions suggests it happened fast, with no sign of panic or destruction. This is likely what led to the rise of mutated entities. The Headman may have once been a human mage, possibly the headmaster of Swissbroom Academy. There's even a gravestone with his face on it, which supports the idea that he died and returned as a ghost-like entity. His connection to both magic and mutation hints that supernatural forces played a role in this world's collapse. The Taxman is an AI that may have been originally created by the government, probably in Denmark based on the flags and setting. After the outbreak, he started using semi-bots, robots powered by human consciousness, to collect valuables from the old world. He doesn't seem to care what happens to them, as long as they get the job done. As for the semi-bots themselves, they're likely part human, part machine. Some believe their minds were uploaded willingly to escape the disease. Others think the Taxman is just recycling what's ever left of humanity for its own amusement. Either way, you're not just playing as a robot. You're what's left of someone who made a deal to survive. There's no happy ending here, just a loop of collecting, escaping, dying, and repeating. Special thanks to the Steam user Wormweed, whose guide, a quick R.E.P.O lore overview, was a massive inspiration for piecing together the deeper story and background of the world. If you're interested in diving even deeper into the lore, definitely check out their full breakdown. R.E.P.O might look like a silly physics game at first, but it hides a ton of lore, strange monsters, and an eerie story about the end of humanity. Every location, every creature, and every broken down piece of tech tells part of that story. Whether you're dodging lasers from the clown, avoiding the Taxman's wrath, or just trying to survive one more run, you're playing as someone trapped in a world that's long since fallen apart. Thanks so much for watching, and if you like this breakdown, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more horror content like this.